Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Global Times USA. Please subscribe and like my videos because today's story is one of the most intense and eye-opening updates coming straight from the ongoing Russia and Ukraine conflict, and it involves a daring escalation that has sent shockwaves across Moscow. The breaking news is that Ukrainian drones have ignited multiple fires in Moscow, creating an atmosphere of chaos, fear, and questions about the safety of the Russian capital. In this detailed video, we are going to go deep into every angle of this incident, analyzing the exterior impact of the attack, the interior political and social consequences, the performance of Ukraine's drone strategies, the safety concerns for civilians and infrastructure, the unique selling points of this warfare tactic, the economic cost or price being paid by both nations, and finally a conclusion that highlights where this war could head next. The exterior impact of this attack is what has captured global attention first, because the world woke up to images and videos of Moscow lit up with flames and explosions. Skyscrapers in the Moscow city business district, which are symbolic of modern Russian wealth and power, were seen damaged, burning, and surrounded by emergency services. Witnesses on the ground reported loud booms, shattering glass, and fires breaking out on multiple floors of high-rise buildings. These visuals represent not just physical damage, but also a psychological impact on the Russian population. For years, Moscow was considered untouchable, far from the front lines, but these drone strikes have brought the war to the very heart of Russia's capital. The skyline that once represented stability now reflects vulnerability, and that shift has powerful implications for how ordinary citizens view the war. Now moving into the interior aspect, this is where the story grows even bigger, because the internal reaction inside Russia is one of shock, anger, and rising questions about the Kremlin's ability to protect its own citizens. The Russian government has long presented an image of absolute control, portraying the conflict in Ukraine as a distant military operation with little effect on everyday Russian life. But these drone attacks have broken that illusion, forcing the Russian public to confront the reality that their own capital is not safe. Inside Moscow, people have reported sleepless nights, fear of going near high-rise towers, and a rising sense of insecurity. Social media platforms within Russia are flooded with discussions, some supportive of retaliation against Ukraine, and others critical of the government for failing to stop the attacks. The political interior is equally heated, because opposition voices are using this as evidence of Kremlin weakness, while pro-war hardliners demand harsher measures against Ukraine and its Western backers. The sheer size of this interior reaction is unprecedented in the war so far, and it marks a turning point where the conflict has crossed into Russian daily life in a way that cannot easily be ignored. This big internal shift is why this attack is being talked about not just as another drone strike, but as a symbolic escalation that could alter Russia's domestic politics for years to come. Looking at the performance, Ukraine's use of drones has become one of the most remarkable military strategies of modern warfare. Unlike traditional missile barrages or heavy artillery, drones provide a combination of stealth, precision, and cost-effectiveness. In this attack, the performance of these drones was evident in their ability to bypass Moscow's layered air defense systems. Despite Russia's heavy investment in anti-aircraft weapons, multiple drones penetrated those defenses and managed to strike high-altitude targets in the city. This exposes gaps in Russian security and demonstrates that Ukraine has refined its drone technology and tactics to a highly effective level. The performance of these drones is not just technical, but also psychological, because the message sent is clear: nowhere in Russia is completely safe. Ukraine has effectively extended the battlefield into the symbolic heart of Russia, shifting the performance of warfare itself. Safety features, or more accurately the lack of them, are at the center of global concern. Civilian safety in Moscow is now being questioned, because high-rise buildings filled with offices, apartments, and businesses are suddenly at risk of becoming targets. Firefighters, medical teams, and law enforcement have been stretched to their limits trying to contain fires and rescue people from damaged towers. The safety concerns are not just physical, but also emotional, as fear grips the public. Meanwhile, on the Ukrainian side, the use of drones has been defended as a necessary response to relentless Russian missile and drone strikes on Ukrainian cities, where thousands of civilians have already been killed. Ukraine argues that the safety of its own people comes first, and bringing the war into Moscow is a way of pressuring Russia to rethink its aggression. The contrast in safety features between a nation defending itself and a capital under sudden fire is stark, and it underscores the growing desperation on both sides of the conflict. When we discuss unique selling points, we are essentially analyzing what makes Ukraine's drone strategy stand out in this war. The unique selling point here is asymmetry. Ukraine does not have the vast resources or military budgets that Russia commands, but it has leveraged smaller, cheaper, and smarter technologies to inflict disproportionate damage. Drones are portable, harder to track, and can be produced at a fraction of the cost of missiles. This makes them a weapon of choice for a country fighting against a larger adversary. Another unique selling point is the symbolism. By targeting Moscow, Ukraine has not only hit infrastructure but also shaken Russian morale. The message to both domestic and international audiences is that Ukraine is innovative, determined, and capable of striking where it matters most. This asymmetric approach is being studied worldwide, and military analysts suggest it could redefine warfare in the 21st century, where smaller nations use drones to offset the advantage of larger military powers. The price of this conflict, however, is being paid in many forms. For Russia, the economic cost of repairing damaged skyscrapers, businesses, and infrastructure in Moscow is significant. Insurance claims, rebuilding, and the cost of beefing up security will weigh heavily on Moscow's budget. Beyond economics, the political price for the Kremlin is even higher, as the image of control and invincibility is shattered. For Ukraine, the price comes in the form of continued Russian retaliation, because every drone attack on Moscow is likely to be followed by missile strikes on Ukrainian cities, leading to civilian casualties and further destruction. The international price is also mounting, as global markets react to instability, energy prices fluctuate, and investors grow wary of Russia's economic stability. This cycle of attack and retaliation means the price is never paid by one side alone, but by both nations, their civilians, and even global economies. In conclusion, the breaking news of Ukrainian drones igniting Moscow in flames is not just a headline, it is a turning point in modern warfare. The exterior images of burning towers reveal vulnerability at the heart of Russia. The interior reaction shows a shaken society and political landscape. The performance of Ukrainian drones demonstrates the effectiveness of asymmetric warfare. Safety concerns highlight the human cost and risks faced by civilians. The unique selling points showcase how innovation can disrupt traditional power balances. The price reminds us that both sides and even the global community continue to bear heavy consequences. What happens next is uncertain, but one thing is clear. The war has entered a new phase, and its outcome will not only shape Ukraine and Russia, but also the future of global security. Stay tuned to Global Times USA for more updates on this developing story. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video to keep supporting independent coverage of world events.